G'day guys, Dean here from Blog for the Blood God, and I recently put out a video talking about the top 5 most brutal Chaos Space Marine characters. I basically broke down the Warlord trait, relic, stratagem combos with the Legion traits and all of the different buffs that you can put on a character to make them go absolutely insane when they charge into that combat. And what I want to do today, and over the next couple of days, is release a series of videos focusing in on one of each of those characters and actually rolling it out here on camera, so that you can really get an understanding of just how brutal these are. So if you want to know which ones are coming out, check out my top 5 most brutal Chaos character combo video, and that's going to cover all 5 of them. And then basically I'm going to release 5 more videos. This will be one of them, and each one of those is going to contain a single one of those characters. So with that being said, let's get into the video.
Blog for the Blood God.
Alrighty, before we start this video, let's just do a quick recap by showing you a snippet from our previous episode on what this character actually does. And then once we've got a better understanding of which character we're talking about and what damage they do, we'll then roll it out on camera. So here's a clip from my previous episode on the top 5 most savage Chaos Space Marine characters. We have one of my favorite characters in the Codex. I think he's an unsung hero, and it's the Master of Executions. He's brilliant because he's an elite slot, so he doesn't chew into your valuable HQ slots for your various buffing characters. You can put this little 65-point unit in there, send him out like a missile, and he can do massive amounts of damage. We're making him Night Lord, so let's go through what this guy's going to do on the table. I call him the Midnight Murderer. So he's a Night Lord, Master of Execution. His relic is Misery of the Meek. His Warlord trait is Killing Fury, and he has the Mark of Khorne. So this is going to be another guy that's going to really heavily benefit from being inside of a Rhino with a unit of Legionnaires. He's going to be able to disembark out of the Rhino, then charge, and he's also going to be able to have buffs cast on him from the Legionnaires that were also in that Rhino, which means you're really going to be able to dial up the damage to 11. But let's have a look at his Warlord traits and relics to see what he actually does, because this guy's a bit of a fucking maniac. Alright, Misery of the Meek. So once per battle, at the start of any phase, the bearer can use this relic. If it does so, he regains 3 lost wounds, and until the end of the turn, add D3 to the bearer's attacks characteristic. Alright, so people will be tempted to only use this once you have lost wounds, which is always more than welcome, but the idea here is that we're going for that plus D3 attacks. We really want to dial up this guy's attacks characteristic because he has an Axe of Dismemberment, which is the Master of Execution's weapon, where every time he rolls a 6 to hit, he does 2 mortal wounds and the attack sequence is over. So you really want to increase the number of attacks that you get so that you increase the chances of you rolling those 6s and doing a massive amount of mortal wounds in combat. Next, he has Killing Fury. Each time this Warlord is selected to fight, if it made a charge move, was charged, or performed a heroic intervention this turn, until the fight is resolved, add another D3 to the attacks characteristic of the Warlord, and each time the Warlord makes an attack, it is considered to be engaged in wanton slaughter for that attack. Alright, so now we're getting another D3, so this guy's going in with 6 attacks, plus 2 D3 attacks, so potentially going in with 12 attacks, which is crazy amounts of attacks, and every time you roll a 6, it's 2 mortal wounds. So straight out the gate, based on maths, you got 12 attacks, you're probably going to roll 2 6s, which means you're going to be doing 4 mortal wounds before you even roll to wound. Then of course we have Diabolical Strength to give him another plus 2 to his strength and attacks characteristic, just like we said with the other character. Alright, so he's going in now with 14 attacks, potentially, doing a massive amount of mortal wounds, and if you happen to have Abaddon in your list, which a lot of competitive Chaos lists do these days, you can actually put a command phase buff on him, provided he didn't start in a Rhino, but you can put a command phase buff on him to give him reroll hits. So now he's going in and he's going to be doing insane amounts of damage because he's got 14 attacks, rerolling everything. Really, really powerful. So the thing to remember with this guy is that all of his utility comes from high number of attacks and 6s to hit doing mortals. That being said, that isn't where it ends. Even if you don't roll a 6, he's still going to hit on a 2+ most often, and then he's also going to be able to roll to wound, roll to do damage, they roll their saves, and then he goes in and does 2 damage with all those attacks. So when you go in with 14 attacks, even without the mortal wounds, you're going to do insane amounts of damage. And when you put Abaddon's rerolls on him, now you can roll all 14 dice, leave the 6s, and then just re-roll the whole lot and fish for more 6s. And based on the maths, you're probably going to roll around 4, maybe even 5 6s when you do this, which means you're just going to be doing 10 mortal wounds to anything that you hit. Like, that's insane amounts of damage. Yes, it requires a few buffs going off, and yes, there's a lot of investment, but being able to send this guy in, he could one-shot a knight realistically. It's not that big of a stretch to think that he just goes in 65-point character and takes a 400-point knight and crushes it to the ground. Really, really powerful, really, really good. And the fact that he's a little character that can sit inside a rhino and launch out means that he's really good for launching those counterattacks and those surprise attacks on your opponent in true Night Lord's fashion. Alrighty, now that we've got that out of the way, let's take a look at this Master of Executions, and let's just have a look at how savage he is. So, he gets 6 attacks on his profile, right? So we've got 6 here, boom, 6 attacks. He gets an additional D3 from his Warlord trait, which we rolled a 5 there, so another 3 attacks there. He gets another D3 from his Relic, right? 1 more attack there, and then he gets another 2 attacks from Diabolical Strength, which will be cast on him from Legionnaires. So, that's his attacks. Now, let's say he's going into a squad of Tactical Marines. They're a pretty standard profile, so going into Tactical Marines, he's going to be hitting them on 2+. Alright, so we've got 3 6s there, which is a good start. And then what we're going to do is we're going to say that he had Abaddon the Despoiler in the command phase, put reroll hits on him. So, I'm going to reroll everything that's not a 6. Okay, so we've got 2 failed to wound. 2 failed to hit, sorry, those 2. But we got another 3 6s. So that's already, straight out the gate, 12 mortal wounds on that unit. And because he has been engaged in wanton slaughter, those hits go back into the pool. Now, normally with a Master of Executions, if you roll a 6 to hit, it's just 2 mortal wounds and the attack sequence ends. However, with this guy, the attack sequence ends for those, but those 6s to hit will also generate additional hits. So they actually go back into the pool. So the unit has already taken 12 mortal wounds, and now we're going to roll to wound them with these standard attacks. We're going to be wounding on a 2+ because he's going in at strength 10. So we've got 1 failed to wound. He is AP 3, which because of their Armor of Contempt will go to AP 2. So they're going to get 5 up saves against these, which they pass 2. So straight out the gate, this guy has done 2 damage on each. So 1 dead, 2 dead, 3 dead, 4 dead, 5 dead, 6 dead, 7 dead Marines. And then on top of that, he did 12 mortal wounds, so another 6. So he's just gone in and killed 13 Marines. And he's a 65-point character. Now, yes, there's a lot that needs to go into this combo. You need Abaddon the Despoiler nearby to give him those reroll hits, which is critical for this guy because it's the hits that do the mortal wounds. So it's really important that you're getting some form of rerolls on those. And also, you need a Psyker for Diabolical Strength, and you've invested quite a few CP. So it's not that cheap in the grand scheme of things, but this character on his own is extremely cheap. Let's just roll him out one more time. So we've just seen that he killed like 1 billion fucking Marines, 13. Now let's roll him out into a Knight, say a Knight Armiger. They're a pretty standard profile. They're something that you'll see lots of, and you can sort of use this to sort of figure out how he would go into Dreadnoughts, or how he would go into, you know, various other, you know, big chunky things like Tyranid monsters, etc. So he's got his 6 attacks on his profile. It's +1 from his Warlord trait for an extra 2. He gets another D3 for his Relic, which is another 2. And then he gets another 2 from Diabolical Strength. So that's a total of, what is it, 12 attacks. So pretty brutal. Now, he's going to hit that Armiger on 2+. So we're going to take out the 1s. They're misses. There's only 1 6 here, right? So we're going to keep that 6, and we're actually going to use, again, Abaddon to reroll the lot. Rerolling everything. Okay, good. We got a couple more 6s in there, but we did roll quite a few 1s. So this isn't that spectacular of a roll. I think we're rolling slightly below what you'd expect here. But that is still going to be 6 mortal wounds on that Armiger. Plus, we now get to roll to wound with these. Now he's strength 10, so he's going to be wounding on 3+. So we rolled pretty good with the wounds there. AP 3, Armiger has a 3-up save. It doesn't have Armor of Contempt, so that's going to push it down to a 6-up save against these. Of which they passed 1. So he does now 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 damage, plus the 6 mortal wounds, which is enough to kill that Armiger. So as you can see, this guy can kill anything from 13 Marines all the way up to an Armiger with relative ease. You know, this guy is really, really powerful. So if you want a really cool Night Lord's character who's going to go in there and just shred things to pieces, this guy's your man. Alrighty guys, I hope you enjoyed that video. If you would like to see more of these style videos where I take a particular combo and roll it out live on camera to show you just how powerful it is, let me know, because this is something that I'm looking to build into my ongoing masterclass for the various legions. I want to find every single combo that's worth looking into, and I want to put it into these videos. So let me know what you think in the comments below. A huge thank you to my supporters on Patreon. You're the reason that I was able to get 2 cameras set up. You know, I've been able to upgrade my equipment consistently through my own financial investment because you guys motivate me, you guys inspire me, and you guys make me believe that if I continue to do this, eventually I will be able to make this a full-time job, or at least a part-time job, and try and generate an actual community where we have sick content coming out regularly. So a huge thank you to my Patreon supporters. If you want to show your support, either head over to Patreon, that's the best place to go. We've got a Discord community there where we get a lot of good work done. We do one-on-one coaching, we talk lists and strategy in pairings and matchups, we talk it all. Or if you want to show your support by getting something back, you can purchase a shirt like what I'm wearing over on my Teespring site, links in the description, or you can purchase some neoprene objective markers, or I've got dice on the way as well. So whichever way you want to go, we've got you covered. And yeah, thanks for tuning in. I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.
The Warhammer community suffers from some of the most prohibitively expensive essentials in the world, especially Australian content creators. Every single day, Dean wants to create content, but he can't. Suffering from old, worn-out brushes, expensive model kits, and costly software and equipment, he can't endure much longer. Just look at this dirty paint water. Would you drink this? Would you let your child? Even a small monthly donation can help provide Dean with clean paint water, basic tools for survival, and access to life-saving information and education. So please, follow the links in the description below and find out how you can sponsor a mad cunt like Dean today and end the suffering. Suffering that is cruel, unsustainable, and your fault.
Do your objective markers ever get lost behind terrain or other models and become difficult to see? Do they ever get bumped and accidentally moved during a game? And do they ever spark arguments about distances? Well, not anymore. Introducing the blog for the Blood God, not even remotely patented neoprene objective markers. Made from the same material as astronaut suits, or maybe military equipment, or probably neither of those things, this 2mm thick neoprene synthetic rubber is tear resistant, water resistant, and is designed to last. But that's not all. The blog for the Blood God, not even remotely patented neoprene objective markers come in a variety of different designs and styles to suit any faction represented in the Warhammer 40,000 universe. These objective markers are a perfect gift for yourself or a friend, and are a perfect way to flex and show your opponent that not only are you a smarter, cooler, and better 40k player than them, but you also have more disposable income than they do. For the low price of $25, you'll get not 1, not 2, but 6 neoprene objective markers, perfectly designed for 9th edition Warhammer 40k. But wait, there's more. For a limited time only, people who sign up on Patreon to support Blog for the Blood God as a Skull Champion tier $5 per month member will gain access to a custom design service where I will design a unique logo to support their gaming club, like the one I did to the left here for the Potato Farmers local gaming club here in Melbourne. Follow the links in the description of this video to pick up your set today.